Laura is a fascinating student. It's not uncommon in certain education systems around the world for a child to come out, maybe as old as the age of 16, as this student is, with a verbal score that is more developed than a non-verbal score. Often in curricula which are very didactic, very textbook driven, that non-verbal aptitude is not given a space in which to develop. But Laura's picture was different still, even from that. Laura's non-verbal score is significantly below the others. And that's what I want to talk about with Laura, because that, for me, is going to shape her chances moving forward closer to university and to the rest of her learning and life. Laura's quantitative and spatial scores are exceptionally high, almost at the top of the tree. And you'll see that this had a big part to play in shaping Laura's GCSE grades in English and in English literature and in maths and in all of the sciences. Laura got an A star, and a very, very strong A star at that. And that verbal aptitude of 114 was also sufficient to give that linguistic foundation to enable those quantitative and spatial scores to blossom and to flourish. During that particular year, Laura's attitudes, however, were a little bit problematic. Her attitudes to teachers used to be 30 that previous year, and that's of a real concern, especially as a student gets older and therefore closer to the time in their schooling when relationships with teachers would typically be better. So, for me, the key to understanding Laura, a student who I believe has probably been misunderstood for years, is that non-verbal score. 83 isn't just a bit lower. 83 is in a different realm altogether, several stanines below the majority of the other scores. This, for me, presents a child who is misunderstood and, to be honest, probably misunderstands themselves. And this is going to create a barrier and a chasm, I think, developed here between this child and her teachers, hence the low pass 5 the previous year. This child is aware they're clever, they've always been getting A stars after all, and their general work ethic is good, and they're not fazed by difficult challenges, and all of the past scores really bear that out. But as Laura has got closer to sixth form, closer to the end of her schooling, a new problem has started to develop, and that problem is in pass 4. My contention here with Laura is that strong cognitive potential across quantitative and spatial, with that firm foundation of verbal, was enough at GCSE to get outstanding grades. But at A-level, and I warrant at university, it won't be, and indeed it isn't. And that impaired non-verbal aptitude, I think, is already starting to harm Laura's metacognition, and therefore her overall preparedness for learning, and that eventually, if we don't do something about it, will have an impact on A-level grades, on the university that she goes to, and on the rest of her life chances in academics and her career. I've also seen anecdotally over the years that this sort of picture is not uncommon in children on the autistic spectrum. This dislocation between their non-verbal aptitude and the other batteries. And again, that would fit in with Laura's presentation, that she doesn't fully understand what makes her tick, her teachers don't fully understand what makes her tick. So the challenge with Laura is working out how to improve that non-verbal score. If we can just get that non-verbal score up, if we can get it closer to the other batteries, then many of the other problems which at the moment are presenting themselves through an insufficiently developed preparedness for learning and metacognition will start to dissipate, and the risk of attainment at A-level and beyond dropping will also be reduced. But that's a tricky one. Improving non-verbal aptitude is perhaps the hardest thing of all. And therefore, really, with this flag, we've got to start digging. We've got to start meeting this student where they are, rather than where they and we think they are. And we've got to find a way in that we haven't yet found so far.